Croeso I bysgota Cymru. Welcome to Fishing in Wales.
Well, you find us today in the beautiful Pembrokeshire countryside at a relatively new fishery. So this fishery called Foxhill Fishery, a very new fishery in terms of game fisheries across Wales. So this fishery has literally just been opened for a few months. It was basically a pet project for the owner, Steve, who, if you turn up, is an extremely welcoming character. Steve actually opened this fishery, or started this fishery as his own pet project, but then decided to open it up to visiting anglers. And all credit to him, because it is quickly building up a fantastic reputation in the area and further afield. The fishery is, or the lake is, around 3 acres. It started off actually life as a much smaller lake, which was then excavated around to create a much bigger fishery. There's a great shop on site with the killing patterns, and Steve is always at hand to help on that front. They also run a very active Facebook page on that front, which do daily reports. So actually, if you're looking at travelling up in the near future, it's always worth having a look at their Facebook page, which does tell you what's been working recently. There's on-site toilets, on-site food, drink. They even have a bit of a shop in terms of Semperfly, Ridgeline clothing, all that kind of stuff. So it's a bit of a one-stop shop, but always a warm welcome when you arrive. It's a rare dry day in Wales, and it's a balmy 1 degrees. So to warm up the body, it's time to go fishing, I think, and see if we can pull a few of these fish out. So even after all the rain we've had, it's nice to have these dry paths to walk around. We're just going to explore the windward side of the lake to begin with. Always on these fisheries, if there is any natural food around, the windward side is not always the most pleasant side to fish, but food tends to concentrate on the windward side. So we'll brave the elements for a while, or until we get too cold, at which time we can flip over to the other bank. So again, just talking with Steve, extremely knowledgeable about obviously the contours and everything in the lake. It's an incredibly, or certainly in sections, it's an incredibly deep lake. It does drop off to 26 foot, which it's a fair old depth. But in some of the warm summers that we've been having, that depth really pays dividends to these fisheries, where these trout can just go and hide in those depths and stuff during the during those heat waves in the summer. I'm going to start off, just because this side hasn't had any pressure yet, I'm actually going to start off with a lure. I'm going to start off with a good old dirty snake. So I'm going to start off with a snake and then just basically take it from there. So I like to fish layers, so wherever I am fishing, especially this is a new fishery for me. And again, we've been reliably told by the owner, Steve, that in front of us here, it does shelf down to 26 foot, but actually then out in front of us, about 20 yards out in front, there is a bit of an old island, essentially, where the old lake used to be. So I like something that I can basically count down and explore different depths. So I'm going to just start with a fast intermediate. It's going to be a very, very simple setup, and then probably 6-7 foot of leader material. Well, we just started, and there's an angler playing a fish on the opposite bank already. Giving him a good scrap, in fairness. I was talking to Steve about just the stock in the lake in general. He's getting the stock from a place called Exmoor, which, if anybody's familiar with specifically small still water fishing, the quality of Exmoor fish in general. And actually, a lot of people will hunt out fisheries that do specifically stock Exmoor fishery because of the quality of their fish. You rarely get any bad tails, and just the fighting prowess of Exmoor fish in general. They're just worth travelling for. So yeah, all of these fish are Exmoor fish. And then we were talking about the average size of the fish in here. So he is stocking them. The majority of fish are around 2.5 to 3.5. He has a stock. There's a head of fish on the within this 3 acres. There's a stock of around 650 trout, which yes, no pressure. But within that 650, around 10% of those fish are actually double figures. So yeah, he's got around 70 double figure fish in here. And as of yet, since he kind of opened in earnest back in October, as of yet, not a single double figure fish has made an appearance. So they are there to play for. And when you turn up in the morning and you pay the price for the ticket, £1 of your ticket price is actually entered into a biggest fish competition. So at the end of each month, whatever the pot is from that £1 of every ticket, the biggest fish of the month actually wins that pot. So yeah, let's hope one of those double figure fish make an appearance today. Yeah, 650 is a lot of fish, man. Yeah, my friend was fishing here last week and he did really well. But he was just fishing hoppers, but subsurface. But I think it was just, it's just silhouette as much as anything. So it is really cold, like really, really cold. Other than that, I'm just getting soft at my old age, I think. There's not much activity. There's not much willing to chase either. We've had a quick flick around with the snake. So next course of action is just to slow things right down. If the fish are slow, you've got to slow down with them essentially. So we're going to fish. You got two real options: straight lining, or for me, just to control the depth and to be able to fish it pretty much static as well. We're just going to fish the bung. So we'll probably start off with a couple of eggs, or certainly one egg and maybe like a chenille, like a bloodworm chenille or something on the point, something similar to that anyway. But fish them pretty static. Fish two, so fish two very different depths. Just drift that around for a bit, but just fish it really, really slow. So as you can see, we've swapped sides. It was absolutely Baltic the other side. So yeah, we've swapped over, and in fairness, it's very pleasant this side. And yeah, let's hope the fish also prefer the warmer side. As you may have noticed, the water is extremely coloured. That's purely down to the amount of rain we've been having recently. It's been torrential to say the least. The colour is starting to drop out, and as a rule, Foxhill is gin clear. However, this coloured water doesn't seem to have put the fish off at all. Recent catch reports look extremely positive. Of the beautiful bung. Well, I finally hooked a fish after the kind advice of the locals who have been banging up all around me. One fish finally felt sorry for me and took. Been changing around a lot and have finally resorted to 2 eggs under a bung. That's how low I have just stooped. But you know what? It's producing the goods. We got a lovely rainbow. Finally managed to land one of these Foxhill beauties, and yeah, true to form of what Steve was telling us, probably around the 2 3/4, £3 mark, fully finned, great shape and great fight in fairness. Did you see that? Yeah, that was a fish. Interesting to see if they avoid the dropper, which is like a peachy as well. I can just go on to there you go. Definitely higher up in the water. Definitely higher up in the water though. It's funny how small changes can make all the difference. So instinctively thinking, okay, this lake goes down to 26 foot, it's been cold. You're also instinctively kind of thinking, okay, you need to fish a lot deeper. But again, just watching what's going on around you and not being shy about watching what, you know, regular fishers at Foxhill do. Just saw they were taking fish close to the surface, adjusted the level, just brought everything up in the water, and we're finally getting amongst the fish. So another great looking fish, in fairness, another fully tailed rainbow, another good fight. So off the end of the floating line, I've actually got a 6 or 6.5 foot poly leader, and what I'm achieving with that is just helping turn everything over. I can take that bung off, just off the end then of that tapered leader. I can switch that on to a dry fly setup. I can fish straight line, I can do whatever I want basically off the end of that, but it's just going to aid my turnover with whatever I'm fishing. But what I'm doing at the moment, I've got this bung which I can adjust up and down the up and down that poly leader, and off the end of that is obviously my tippet material, or the cast essentially. And what I've done now is I've chopped all of this down just to bring things up in the water a little bit. And where I'm getting the fish at the moment is there, which is probably about five, maybe 5.5 foot or so. That's where I'm hitting them. But just to make sure that it's the depth more than the fly, I've got a pretty bright egg on the dropper, like a peachy one. And the one on the point, even though it's got a fluorescent bead, the egg itself is a bit more of a natural colour. So I'm actually going to chop the peachy one off now and put a bit more of a natural colour on the dropper as well. See if it's the depth or if it's actually the colour. You got to have that confidence as well, like there's 650 fish in front of you. So you've got to have that confidence of, if you keep changing, sooner or later you're going to hit onto a winning tactic. But again, you just got to keep fishing and have that confidence that, you know, in front of you there's, on every time you're bringing that fly back to the water, you're covering the fish. Seems like that little edge of that ripple as well, don't they? Seem to be a few fish cruising on that, on the edge of the ripple. I think what's happening, just to my right, there's a load of like old weeds. And I think what they're talking about, that ridge that runs across to that island. I think there's a lot of food. Essentially, this is like the new section of the lake, and that's the old section of the lake. So I think there's established weed beds and stuff over here. So if you're talking about just from a food perspective, and that's falling off on the ledge. So they're probably on that contour and also then where the food is. So I think this little section here is going to be a good kind of food source area for them, like that. That was just on the edge of that ripple again. The same fly again. So I think it might actually be the depth more than the fly, to be honest. I think it's just that 5 foot depth. That's a really nice looking fish. Really nice looking fish. Yeah, same fly again. Nice looking fish. that was way up. So that one's on the dropper. So we said we changed to a couple more, well, changed the dropper over to a more natural colour, and seems to have done the trick. But just working the edge of this little weed bed, and yeah, another one came to grace our presence. One of the great things I would say about Foxhill Fishery is the level of access. Almost, you know, no matter what your mobility levels, you can get around this fishery. Yeah, absolutely beautiful, stable platforms. But I'd even say, certainly from a couple of pegs on the lodge side, you can, you know, get a vehicle down there from almost from a wheelchair perspective. But again, talking to Steve, the owner, and he is planning to concrete or cement around a lot of the path underneath the lodge, which will give even better access for wheelchair users. So that's going to be a great thing about this fishery in the future. So they've got a few different tickets available, kind of suiting every mindset really. So if you want to kill a few fish, there are essentially catch and kill tickets. But if you want to do the sporting tickets, they do have catch and release tickets on a half and full day basis as well. So pretty good value for money, especially considering the size of the fish and the quality of the sport. So, but yeah, something available to everyone. Well, the day is drawing to an end here at Foxhill Fishery, and it's been an absolutely fantastic day in fairness. A couple of other rods, we've all had plenty of sport throughout the day. Fairly different tactics throughout the day, keep adjusting the depth and stuff. But it's been, yeah, absolutely fantastic day. One more fish, as I was saying, just to finish off the day, another lovely rainbow trout. Just going to slip it back and bid it farewell until next time.
Discover fishing in Wales